Thank you everybody for coming this week. My name is Debbie Perez Cockburn. I am your mediator, your conductor for this meeting. Welcome to our Soul Changes Lives weekly webinar. I'm so happy to be with you and happy that you are here with us this week. And I would like to start this week the way we always do, with a testimonial, but this week I'm going to share my own personal testimonial. If you remember correctly, we have just wrapped up our series on Avant Greens. We did a 3-week study on Avant Greens. It was amazing. So glad that you could be there with us for that. And this week we're going to do something a little different. I've asked Greg Halliday, our president and CEO of Soul Naturals, to talk to us about the king of adaptogens. And I am excited to hear about that because this particular adaptogen we have in 3 of our formulas at Soul Naturals. And so I love to really go deeper into why Soul Naturals works the way it does. And then we'll just close up with a little bit of a tip on how to make your new website work the best way for you. So that's what we have in store this week. So I'm going to go ahead and start with a testimonial. Most of you know I am the oldest of 5 children in my family, so I tend to be the mother of all of my siblings and the children of my siblings, and now the children of those children. So I tend to be this smother instead of mother. Anyway, I get a phone call today in the middle of the day, which is always a panicky thing for me when it's from one of my sisters in the middle of the day. I worry that something has happened because they all work. So I get a phone call from my sister, who is a nurse at the Utah Valley State Hospital. And it frightened me. I said, "You're home? What's going on?" And she said, "Well, don't panic, but," and I said, "But," and she said, "Well, you know, I got to work this morning and I felt like I was having a heart attack. And of course, the first thing they did was do a blood sugar test on me." And she said, "And I couldn't believe it, but my blood sugar was over 240 points. And I said, "Were you fasting on purpose or did you just forget to eat?" And she said, "Well, you know, I had eaten such a big lunch the day before. I went to bed without dinner and just went to work, and I hadn't made my shake yet." She loves her Soul Complete. For those of you who don't know the background, my sister fought and won against cancer almost 2 years ago, but she had been using Soul the whole time. And so she has been using Soul. She's very familiar with Soul. But like everybody else, you know, she's busy and she works and she forgot. And she said that when they gave her her blood test reading, she remembered that she had a Cinnamate in her purse. And she remembered what I had taught her about Cinnamate and blood sugar imbalances. And so she said, I immediately took it out. I made a cup of hot Cinnamate on the spot. And she says, "Debbie, you're not going to believe it, but by the time I was finished drinking my Cinnamate, they had done a blood sugar test within 5 minutes of me having finished my Cinnamate." And I said, "And what was the number?" And she said, "My number went from 248 to 148 in about 5 minutes after taking her Cinnamate." Just goes to show how wonderfully quickly adaptogenic herbs will work, especially taken in a liquid form where they're easily absorbed. They go into the body system so quickly. And it was a blood sugar imbalance. I mean, it doesn't mean that Cinnamate is going to drop your blood sugar, but if it needs to drop really quickly, it will help it do so. And I know that when my blood sugar has been below 100 in the morning, which sometimes it is very, very low, I will drink a Cinnamate first thing, and then I feel like myself because it helps to balance those blood sugar issues. And so I wanted to share that testimonial today with you all because it really proves how Soul can change a life in a matter of minutes. And so if you have never had that experience, try it. I don't suggest you go fasting and just to see how low your blood sugar will go or how high it can go. I don't say go out and eat 10 Krispy Kreme donuts and then go take a Cinnamate. Test your blood sugar. What I'm saying is that if we give the body what it needs at the moment that it needs it, the body knows exactly what to do. And this was a classic example for me. And so I wanted to share that testimony with you today. So moving on to our next section, our section where our president, CEO, and one of its founders of Soul Naturals, Mr. Greg Halliday, joins with us every week to tell us a little bit more about why Soul works the way it does, and why he and his team actually decided to incorporate certain ingredients together to make a certain formula. So this week, we are talking about one of my favorite adaptogens. It is probably one of the most used adaptogenic herbs around the world. It is really known for all of its qualities, that everything that an adaptogen does. Eleuthero is known for that. Eleuthero is currently in 3 of our Soul formulas. I can tell you it's in Soul Vital, it's in Adaptable, and if I'm not mistaken, it is also in our, is it Soul Complete or in the Soul Complete? So it's in 3 great formulas. I love it because I know personally how adaptogens can work for you. And so to tell us more about this wonderful ingredient that's in 3 of our formulas, I'm going to turn the time over to Greg.
Thanks, Deb, and great to see everybody. I love talking about Siberian ginseng. Remember, Joanne, when we used to be able to call it that, and then people got upset. I don't understand it. It was just the common name. It's Eleuthero, as Debbie said, became famous as Siberian ginseng, and of course it's still that. There are different kinds of ginseng. This is a wonderful one. I love Debbie's testimony, and thanks, Deb. I love listening to you teach because you give information and you make me think. Both of those things. And I was thinking about your Cinemate story. You know, Mary Fernandez she's the MD that lived in San Diego, and she gave the scientific backup for what Debbie just gave her word to all of us, or to any who will listen to this, that Cinemate will do, which has nopal cactus in it, among other ingredients. And she's the one that showed that nopal has compounds in it that lower blood sugar. And nopal also has compounds in it that raise it because it'll balance. And I wish I don't know about you, Deb, and any of the others, the rest of you, when you first heard about herbs. I mean, I came with a mindset, kind of Western medicine where, well, then it just sort of cancels itself out, like this cancel out mindset. And really what it is, you have to look at adaptogens as a fills needs mindset. It fills needs. It has components that can be used. And the body is smart. It knows what it needs if we can give it, like Deb said. We can give it some useful nutrition. So I love that because it goes right into our conversation today, is just about one of our personal favorite adaptogens, which has the same quality as nopal and yerba mate, which are both in Cinemate. It has ingredients, compounds in many different categories, familiar categories that we're used to the names, like saponins and tannins and polyphenols and families of active components that are beneficial to us. And it has them on either side of imbalance, overly active or underactive, or kind of like exhausted and accelerated. I mean, there's a lot of ways to think of the 2 sides of a coin in health, right? Because it depends on what we're talking about. Well, adaptogens, that's what makes them so good. And that's what gives them ultimately that classification, is that they're among the plants with the highest number of active components. I mean, there are other really highly nutritious plants that aren't necessarily adaptogens, of course, that are beneficial. But what's so unique about adaptogens is they have many, like Siberian ginseng. And when you look at what they do in the body, they might look to some people like they cancel each other out, and they don't. They fill a need, completing the spectrum is how I look at it. That makes them wonderful. And so we were joking that Siberian ginseng to us is kind of the king, because it's a personal favorite here among several of us. And when we formulated Soul products, in fact, you know the story of Adaptable, right? And Soul Vital and my wife, we knew that we were going to make the primary adaptogen that one. When we look at how the body handles stress, how it responds, how it marshals its own forces to deal with it, and how much stamina, how much staying power. We have all those aspects of stress. We knew we wanted Siberian ginseng to be right at the start, at the center of all that. So we're joking about this with Dr. Allison, and wouldn't you know, hopefully this is showing you the right page here. This was her training. she put the king, because Eleuthero's the king. I don't know if it's the king. It's just one of the wonderful ones, right? And we kind of call it the king with us because it is so fantastic and lots of great studies. And Debbie already told us what it's in. So what makes it so special? Yeah, it's been in space. It has been used to maintain health in a totally hostile and unfamiliar environment, which was space. That gave it some of its fame. It grows China, Japan, Russia, Korea, and I'm sure other places. Typical to mountain forests. Primarily the root and the leaf are what we're using here. Lots of studies here in the US, and you know, because we're obsessed with athletics here and probably in a lot of places, a lot of studies on that. I actually like those studies because they deal with so much of athletics as mental strength, and that applies to everything in life. So I like what we learned from those studies because we can apply them. Lots of history of it in Russia, making enough of a difference that it got a fame and it turned heads, and we had to look at it more closely because we didn't, you know, we were slow over here. So a lot of traditional uses. Well, there you go, cold and flu. That age-old argument, do we spend your time attacking microbes or do we spend our time strengthening the terrain inside us? This is a great terrain strengthener, is Siberian ginseng. Helps with fatigue, just a sense of vitality, alertness, clear mind, all those things. So these are the traditional uses. I love this quote. I don't know how to say his name. Maybe you've heard of him. I would rather take a handful of Eleuthero than a cartload of golden jewels. Boy, isn't that the truth, right? It doesn't matter what your golden jewels are in life. Health is more important. It just is. It's worth an investment in ourselves. And it is worth doing what you all have done for more years than I have, opening your mouth and helping someone else, telling them about it. Here, this will make a difference for you. I just feel like you couldn't be more involved in a more important work. I know it's changed my life. Some immune uses, lots of studies on that now. Those NK cells increasing just from eating this wonderful root. More about immune cells that Dr. Allison reminded us of, that just eating Eleuthero, keeping that nutrition. How our immune system engulfs harmful cells and organisms. That actually gets, I believe, I'm looking for the word here, but there are certain components that there's another one of those famous categories of beneficial compounds, polysaccharides, lots of different kinds, right? And Eleuthero contains some that actually increase, I think it accelerates the way our immune cells can engulf toxins, danger. And whether that's microorganisms, whether it's damaged cells or altering cells, that actually is improved with Eleuthero. So yeah, there's some studies on showing that it'll flat out kill tumor cells, viral cells. I'm not quite sure, Debbie, do you know, I don't remember this one, detecting MHC.
You know, I don't remember, but I know it's what you just said has to do with the C word.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, right. Okay, so in other words, it's a little bit, the way I want to say it is they're smart. It's a smart immune response because people worry with all the autoimmune, just countless autoimmune health stressors. I call them that, imbalances, because people feel like autoimmune means incurable. Autoimmune equals can't fix it. And this whole concept of understanding adaptogens, modulating your immunity, is something it's not shared enough. And we hope in time, this teaching, we can do our part. Look, bring this nutrition into your lives, bring it into your diet every day, pay attention to stress and mood. The right nutrition can put that in a better pathway, which in itself will change the way our immune system behaves. That is proven in science. And so when this says something like reads or evaluates something, that's how I read this part. It's looking at what's needed and is able to provide it, or the body is able to, it has the material it needs to make the right process or initiate the right process. Now, here's another thing, flipping from immune to now just cognitive, general cognitive wellness. This Siberian ginseng, it's been shown to increase neurotransmitters. Well, that's a big one. Increasing catecholamines. I'm going to confess to you, I can't remember catecholamines. Deb, Joanne, somebody, you probably know what those are. Okay. I can't remember, I can't remember, but it has to do with cognitive, memory, brain health. Something that tends to diminish or be lacking. And it's actually protective, protecting neurons. I love all of that, all three of those. Same herb, Siberian ginseng. Here's a study just showing how it helps. This, I look at this, I mean, this is kind of funny because it's about hangovers. Okay, but what I take out of this is when the body's had more severe reaction, like more kind of trauma, a little bit, sounds funny to say it that way, and it needs to rebalance and repair and restore, adaptogens can help in this. And they can, this is one study, kind of interesting, where headache, dizziness, stomachache, nausea, all those things diminished compared to a placebo group with a group that just had Siberian ginseng. And here's your blood sugar levels improved as well. This is a 2015 study.
So Greg, those catecholamines that you were just talking about, those are the ones that are made by the adrenal glands. That's a hormone that's made by the adrenal glands. Basically, it includes, you know, dopamine, norepinephrine, epinephrine. And so your adrenal glands send the catecholamines into your blood when you're physically or emotionally stressed.
Okay, that's it. So stress response.
Yes, right? And so that's what makes, to me, I beg your forgiveness for interrupting your presentation.
Oh, not at all. Not at all.
You've just made me think about so many things, because when we're talking about your immune system response to stress, also how your immune system responds to pathogens, which is that MHC helps the immune cells to penetrate the membrane of the pathogen and destroy it. So okay. Really, I mean, when I think of this adaptogen in particular, all of them are special and wonderful. When I think of this adaptogen in particular, included in 3 formulas at Soul, and all of the things that it can do, again, it makes me think of how wonderful a formula like Soul Complete can be, or Soul Vital, or adaptable for everyone, just like when we were talking about Avant Greens, how it can help in so many different situations. What I love is that the body is a smart body. And if we give it smart ingredients or prime materials, raw materials, then the body can do what it needs to do quickly. Because of course, if we have a digestive system that is working properly and we can absorb the nutrition that we're being given at that time. So yeah, that's why Soul is so different in the market, because you've included adaptogens in every formula. And this is the reason why. That's why I love talking about Eleuthero. This is a prime example of why we need adaptogens, and not just use supplementation in that Western theory of, I'm going to give you this herb because this will attack this symptom. No, the adaptogen helps the body get to the root of the problem. And that's what enhances everything else. So I apologize for interrupting you.
Oh, don't even apologize. That was great info. And you know, that's the secret, I think, what you said about dealing with root issues, because this makes me think, even this slide and then what you were saying about immunity, all of that, and the part about our stress response, I think that's why it's so good for addictive situations. And I'm referring to substance, but also emotionally or like stressful situations where a response is, I mean, I hate to say it, is like almost beat into somebody through they just don't feel like they can break out of that cycle, and the body goes into same chemicals in the same situation, and there's this roller coaster. Well, that's the same reason I believe that Siberian ginseng helps with like hangover, is the same reason people will tell us that any number of addictive behaviors improve if they start to, especially, that's why we did these in drinks, by the way, to make them easily to sip throughout a day. If you spread them out is what I was going to say. Don't just take them once, use them several times or sip it. You decide, listen to the body. But I do think one of the great wonders of adaptogenic herbs, and I think this one in particular, it's so gentle. That's the other thing I was thinking while you were talking. It does so many kind of powerful things. I don't know, many of you here have used Siberian ginseng for a lot of years. And I just never met someone who, even in larger quantities, who has any kind of a side effect with it. It's a very complete herb, a balanced herb. You can use it, in other words, in the quantities needed without causing other problems because it is so balanced. And I think it does help normalize a very many things. Here's some more reasons why it's a stress, I don't want to say stress blocker, a stress like strengthener, stress response strengthener. That dog, this is Allison. I don't know where she gets these pictures. But it attenuates the production of cortisol. So it's again, back to what you said, Deb, about smart body. When the body gets the right things and it knows it can do what it's trying to do here. Okay, yeah, don't need to keep releasing this, Other stress-related indicators are, and you already mentioned, thank you for showing us where that substance came from, adrenals, the big long word that I couldn't say. So she ended this presentation because I think she gave this when we were doing a special like Soul Fit kind of a thing, like a little bit like we're doing now. So she ended it with a few slides on athletic performance, but I like them because they teach you about the physical side anyway, and just, it's all the same to me when it comes to stamina, being able to have that energy and strength to do what we want to do. So these are again, just summary of anti-fatigue effects. Non-specific body resistance to fatigue. I love non-specific because non-specific means root. It's not just like one thing it alters. It's looking at how the body in general creates energy in the mitochondria. So you just are more efficient, lower perceived exertion. I'm able to do it without feeling like I'm having to give every last ounce of myself to do it, whether it's a physical thing or a mental thing. This is true. Siberian ginseng, they've proven this. It speeds up our reaction time, sharpens vision, strengthens hearing. Hey, this is a good one for the roads. If you have to drive a car, to me, it's one of the reasons I love Vital in any kind of physical activity, or like a shaker bottle of it in the car. I just put, if it gets hot where you are, just some ice, because it's not great, in my opinion, when it's warm. If you keep it cool, just taste wise, what a great thing to sip here and there when you're going to be out and you want to be alert. Just to me, this is just alertness. I think we were created to be this way. Here's a study that the Chinese did with cyclists, and look at this. It's 2 months of it, of using, this is Eleuthero. They got an extra 23%. That's a huge amount in high level athletics. To be able to go this much longer, a quarter again, is a huge difference. So imagine, okay, I don't care if you're riding a bicycle or we just have a lot to do. If this is something I can figure out my routine of when I want to be sipping a Vital or taking an adaptable, or like Deb said, using Soul Complete, again, if I drink it out all at once, that may be great if I've got a lot to do that morning, but sometimes sipping and spreading it out is to me a great answer for just this general steady energy, and solid endurance. Why did it work? This is what that study found back in 2010, published, is it let the body actually burn fats better. And we all know that's more efficient. If you can burn these good fats, you don't create mess that the body has to clean up. You don't create, well, I can't remember what it's called. I think it's lactic acid. No,
Yes,
it's just
it produces lactic acid and more free radicals.
more free radicals.
Produce more free radicals.
Exactly. And then the body has to work to fix that. Where with fat, when we burn fats, we do better. Okay. So that was a big part of this whole study. So this is why she says movement is great in our life. It protects our immune, exercise, but interest, she says if you overdo it, like they call them what do they call it? The Saturday. Oh, there's a term for someone who just maybe exercises once a week and goes way too hard and long and causes more trouble than good. We don't want to do that. It's better to do a little and steady than overdo it, because we can increase cortisol production. But Eleuthero, if we're taking this Siberian ginseng, it suppresses that. So if we have to be active, we have to push a little, sip the Vital, and your body doesn't go for that cortisol as much. Oxygen is another huge one. Because of a lot of factors, we often are a little deoxygenated, or what's the right term? I don't know the terminology here. I know this, when my wife got into swimming, I was warned by people, when you're swimming, you're always kind of on the low side of oxygen. You don't think straight because your brain, you get enough oxygen to keep taking the next stroke, but your head's in the water the whole time, and especially us novices. And you don't think straight, and it is so true. Well, by the things that we drink, a lot of soda, a lot of this, a lot of that, I think oftentimes we're walking around in society with lower levels. And that's why someone can drink a Soul Vital with Siberian ginseng and suddenly, wow, I just feel so much better, more alert, like and clear-headed. Some of that's just oxygen. They showed that there's a better oxygen uptake with Eleuthero. I mean, pretty simple. Better lung capacity as well. Recovery time, after we've gone through a hard time, we bounce back faster. And they found that, that was me talking. I mean, I'm taking the athletic study, but we've seen this in the 9 years of Soul. Okay, just apply this thing to life and going through a hard time in life. If we're consistent and again, giving our body giving enough to match the need. So we might need to drink 2 or 3 Vitals. Yeah, even 2 or 3, sip on them during a day for, I don't know, 2, 3 tough days or 1 tough day. Give it enough and then go right back down to kind of that steady dose. And we'll find that we can bounce back a lot faster. And they proved this in athletics. So there you go. I don't know where Allison got this picture. I love it though. It just, we want to have health, right? We want to be able to do the things that we love and do. That age is just that number. It's not dictating anything about what we're going to be able to do. That's more our nutrition and our stress management, we believe. So Eleuthero, king of adaptogens in our view. I think I mentioned it's in Vital in a concentrated form. It's in adaptable in a concentrated and raw powder, both, 2 forms. And I believe in the Soul Complete that Debbie mentioned, it's just in the concentrate there because there's so much else in that formula.
Right. That formula is full of great nutrition.
Yeah.
Well, I love that you have combined it in different forms so we can use Eleuthero the way our body needs it. So like you said, you can have it for breakfast or for lunch or for dinner in the Soul Complete. It gives you that boost that you might need to start your day or to finish out your day. But for me, and I know that we were talking before we started recording our webinar today, Jody Poole and I were talking about some emotional distress that we've recently been through and how the use of Soul products, and I really attribute it to exactly these 3 products that I use every day, particularly Adaptable and Soul Vital. Just really helps you get through the stress. And so it doesn't matter at what stage of athleticism you may be in your life. You may be 60 plus like me. You may be under 60 like Greg, and you have different.
Barely.
Stop it. I'm 4 years older than you silly.
I know.
So, but
7 in 2 months. Yeah.
But really, these products make such a difference. And that's what I truly appreciate about Soul Naturals is the variety of adaptogens, the variety of raw material, herbs that we don't generally use or hear about here in the Western world, because we are so behind the times as far as herbology goes. You know, we're not as developed as, say, the culture in the eastern part of the world, you know, Asia, Russia, Japan, India, who, you know, you see Ayurvedic medicine and Chinese traditional medicine, and it's all based on adaptogenic herbs and other herbology principles. And so that's what I love, is that we can introduce in such an easy way, and such a easy way to use, and such a good tasting way. We can introduce the wonderful, in Spanish, the word is maravillas, the wonders. In English, the wonders of certain herbs that are not really known in Western world, because we come from that mentality where the doctor knows everything, but the doctor's treating the symptom. It's not even getting to the root of the problem. And so this is what I love about these products, is that they can help you emotionally as well as physically, and mentally as well. And we need that. We need to be flexible in all areas of our life so that we can be more adaptable in certain situations, and our bodies can adapt to the stress. So thank you, Greg. Appreciate that. Next week, we will be talking about another adaptogen. I only want to talk about three big ones, and they're in a lot of our products. And so we'll be talking more about adaptogens. I love talking about rhodiola. I love talking about rooibos and all of these other great components of a lot of the products that we have. I will always be preaching soul until the day I die because I love it so much. I see what it's done for me. But anyway, Greg, thank you so much for being with us this week. Did anybody have any questions or any comments that you want to make really quick while Greg is still here? Open your mic and speak now or forever hold your peace. No? Joanne's reaching. I think she's going to say something. Come on, Joanne, turn on that mic. I'm rooting for you, Joanne. Oh, you got it.
I made it. I just wanted to tell Greg how much we appreciate him taking his time from his busy schedule to help enlighten us on soul products.
Well, you enlightened me. So if I can pass on a few things that as I get enlightened by, then it's my pleasure.
It's just really a pleasure to be working with you again.
Well, I feel the same way. It's always good to see you.
You too. Thank you.
We'll see you soon. We'll see you next time, huh?
Jody,
Right.
did you have
Lord
something?
willing. Bye.
No.
No?
Thanks.
Okay. Thanks, Greg.
See you guys.
All right, everybody. Well, I'm so glad that Greg was with us again this week, and I hope you got as much out of that presentation as I always do, hearing about these adaptogenic herbs, which would really just make such a difference in someone's life. And it really is so easy. What I love that I didn't get a chance to tell Greg is that, you know, many of you know that I love to use this brochure. It's easy to share soul. So this is our soul capsule. This is, you know, how bright does your soul shine? And the play on words is soul because in Spanish, sol is the sun. And I know Greg named the company Sol, which everyone calls Soleil, because it rhymes with the word S-O-U-L, soul, right? That's how he meant it. But I like it because it makes my sun shine every day. But if you notice, when we mentioned about Eleuthero, we said it was in 3 key products, right? And if you look at the 4 months, you're going to see that product everywhere, right? Which is Soul Vital or Adaptable or the Soul Complete, right? You'll see it in the 4 months. What I love about this, ladies, is that, you know, and this is how bright your soul can shine. When people say, do you have something like this or similar or better? Usually we fumble and say, well, you know, Soul only has 19 products right now. If you're looking at capsulated products and the drinks, right? The protein, the Infatuate, the Thrive, or I mean, Avant Greens, and our capsulated products, right? And our box drinks. That's 19 products. And add to that the AC cream and your essential oils and your roll-on oils and the soap, right? Most people say, how is it that that product that you're always talking about, the 4-month program, it will help every situation? Well, the reason it can, and this is the key, is think about it. When someone says to you, do you have anything that's like antiviral? Do you have anything that's like milk thistle? Well, guess what? Milk thistle is in vitamin, in Soul Vital, right? It's got some thistle in it. It's got a lot of other ingredients. So look at Soul and say, you know what? Soul has combined traditional herbs with adaptogenic herbs. And the reason it can help in any situation, and make sure you're not saying sicknesses or anything like that, because none of us are doctors. We don't pretend to be doctors. We're not trying to hit a symptom. We're trying to get down to the root of the problem, right? We're trying to help the body do its thing. And the reason Soul works in every situation is because there's adaptogens in every single product, including the one that helps motivate peristalsis in the intestines, right? Fast tracked. There's adaptogens in our fiber. There's adaptogens in our protein. There are adaptogens in all of the 4 box drinks that we drink every day, and they can help, like we saw in the testimonial today. You know, there's herbs in there that help any imbalance in the body, to help blood sugar. That means that it's helping where? The pancreas, it's helping the liver, it's helping the adrenal glands. So when someone says to you, how is it that that product can work for everything? You're gonna know what to say, because we have adaptogenic herbs. And that is the beauty of adaptogenic herbs. When you combine them with other herbs, your body can take what it needs at the moment that it needs it, use it, and then build the system back up. I love that if we were to analyze the first month and you look at Cinnamate, not only does Cinnamate have nopal in it to help balance blood sugar issues, but guess what? It's got yerba mate, and yerba mate is antiviral, antifungal, anti a lot of things. And so you've got a product, just Cinnamate by itself is going to help the liver because of the things that it has in it, because it's going to help detox. It's going to help your immune system because it helps fight pathogens as well. And so, and if you look at Soul Vital, we talked about Eleuthero that's in it and why Eleuthero can help. We know what's in Excel and we know what's in Renew. So it's going to help the body address all of the things that keep it sick. And that's why I love the 4-month program. That's why I know that I can recommend it safely. And some people will have immediate reactions because what's in it is going to help the body react quickly. And the other things will work slowly until it gets down to the root, okay? So I thank you all. If you have any other questions or anything, no? Perfect. All right then. Well, just know I love you. I'm grateful to have you in my life, and keep rocking, keep sharing soul, keep doing what you're doing. Jody, you're a rock star. Everything you've been through, and these herbs have helped you do it. Joanne had a fall in the snow that is not fun, and she is a rock star. She came through it. And Miss Sherry has been fighting battles that she doesn't know that I know about. She's a school teacher on top of that. And so she's fighting a lot of battles, and what's getting her through it is soul. So rock on, ladies, keep sharing soul. I love you. Thank you for being here every week. Thank you for supporting me. We'll see ya.
Thank you. And you are a rock star too.
Yeah.
Love you guys.
Bye. Love you.
Bye-bye.